work right now. No. Actually, not. No. Hold on, I'll call right back.
Yo, when I tell y'all I never expected it to be snowing out in Texas, this is ridiculous. It's freezing like I don't know what outside is. You feel me? If y'all thought I was a hermit before, I'm definitely a hermit right now. But I ain't gonna lie, this is what I've been on right here. Oh, this is what I've been on right here. Just been in the books heavy, you feel me? You feel me? Doing what I need to do. I ain't touch a couple of these in a minute, but I'm not gonna lie. In the world that we living in right now, man, it's essential that you feel me. Y'all really, you taking your life seriously. Really, you know, working hard and all that, but also making moves that is going to sustain you in the long haul. You feel me? I see so many people work hard, but then the decisions that they make, it takes them totally out of alignment of what it is that they want in life. You feel me? And it can be very frustrating, especially if, you got people that you may be cool with, or, you got people around you that you care for. At a certain point, I was just talking to my brother about this today. You gotta, separate yourself from people that are not in alignment with where you say you want to go in life. Because at the end of the day, it could be a hindrance to your growth. It could be a hindrance to your journey. And you may seem like, you could keep one foot in and keep one foot out as far as dealing with them, but it becomes a strain. It becomes a strain on, you feel me, your mental and, just your overall life. And the reason I say that is because if you're climbing up, right, and you feel me, you're trying to become better, and you changing your habits and you doing certain things that you need to do, but you constantly stay connected with people that are not thinking like that and not in alignment with growth or even trying to do better in life, it could put you at a standstill. You feel me? It could make you feel like you working for nothing if you still giving your time and still giving your energy to people that may not understand your journey or understand exactly what it is that you're doing. And it's no bad blood. You don't have to, be at war with anybody. You don't have to, look at anybody sideways or, treat anybody less than. But you have to understand what's important for your life. You feel me? And during the journey of you just becoming better, you feel me, it can become lonely. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, you feel me, God has placed, us in a stage of isolation where it's like we not, you feel me, really, tapped in with nobody, tapped into what's really going on, you feel me? And I feel like, I don't feel like it's gonna be like this forever, you feel me? But I just feel like right now is a season where, we not in touch with what nobody else has got going on, you feel me? We solely focused on us and what our mission and what our purpose is in life. And I feel like, it's if you really serious about, trying to become better, I feel like everybody has that season, where, they just detach from everybody. They detach from the things that, they're used to, the conversations that they used to have, the people that they used to talk to. Everybody that, I was aware of that kept the same mentality, that, didn't want to change anything, didn't want to evolve, didn't want to heal, didn't want to grow. You feel me? Their life is kind of miserable. You feel me? Their spirits is dark. You feel me? They got all different type of energies connected to them. And I'm going to be real. That was never, you feel me? That was never the goal for me and my family. You feel me? Once I start tapping into different information, it made me want to change for real. You feel me? It's deeper than, just making money and things of that nature. It's about your quality of life. It's about how you want to live, how you feel. You feel me? The relationships that you do have. I would rather have a relationship with, a small circle of people that is very genuine, that they got your best interests at heart, opposed to being cool with a bunch of people that you wouldn't be able to depend on them if you needed them. You feel me? So that's just how, we live in our life. And at the end of the day, anybody watching this, if you're going through the same thing, I need you to understand it's going to get better. Your life going to get better. But You feel me? I'm going through the same thing. And I feel like it's also a season for, us to just really tap in. You feel me? And, God wants our attention. He wants us to, tap in with him and see what it is that he really wanted to do out of life. Because like I told y'all before, it was a point in time where, I had, veered away from God a little bit. Not that I didn't believe in him. It was nothing like that. But just as far as, that consistent prayer, that consistent, that connection with him so he could guide your footsteps, so he could lead you. You feel me? And ever since I got back on track, it's like my life has become, less chaotic, less traffic. You feel me? The things that I was indulged in, the things that we used to, get involved with, it's like it came to a halt. Like, you feel me? But I also have, like a lot of requests. I have a lot of things that, I'm trying to accomplish. You see a vision for yourself, but then you actually have to put the steps in to do it. You actually have to make the changes in your life. And once you start making the changes in your life, it's completely different than what you used to. And to be honest, it can become uncomfortable. You feel me? It can become uncomfortable when you are unfamiliar with, different areas, different people. It makes you want to run back and turn back to what you're used to. But at the end of the day, I remember those seasons that we were in. And, those seasons didn't feel good. You feel me? It was a season where I felt like, it was no way out. And I refuse to go back to that. It seems like, the more that you work on yourself, the more that you, become better, the more that God blesses you, the more opportunities that, come your way. And I'm not going to lie, like, even though it's snowing and it's cold outside, at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't, be outside anyway if it wasn't something intentional that I had to do. If it wasn't, something that, was productive for me to get into. From y'all watching the channel, y'all already know, like, I'm only doing what's necessary. I'm only going, to places that's required for me to go. Just staying out the way, you feel me? I'm not trying to, run into nobody, no attachments, nothing that's going to, hinder my growth and my process. These last couple years, you feel me, I had some slip ups, and I feel like the people that, I decided to, allow to attach to me in my life, it made me backtrack a little bit. Now, everybody makes mistakes, you feel me, but after you learn certain lessons, I feel like it's time for you to tighten up. It's time for you to really, get serious about moving forward. The last thing I want to do is be in the same space for years and years and years to come, not making any progress. That's like the biggest fear of mine. And I don't even want to say fear because I don't, allow fear to rule over my life. But that's just something that I keep on my mind. Like, I got to keep moving forward. Me and my family got to keep, pressing forward and not allowing anything to, cause us to be stuck or stagnant. And if that means, being in a period where we by ourselves, then so be it. You feel me? Because with anything that you're trying to, push towards, it's gonna be sacrifice. That's one of the things I never really understood, how people could want so much out of life and not be willing to sacrifice or not willing to, give up things of pleasure in order to, move towards their goals or get to where they gotta go. You feel me? And I know sometimes I can be an extremist, but it's like I would rather do everything possible to, make sure that I'm on the right track opposed to, just floating through the wind in life and just, making unconscious decisions that could, lead to a downfall. Because I'm not going to lie, you look at older people or you just look at people that have some experience in life and you see some people that are happy, you feel me, they fulfilled, they're joyful, you feel me, their life is kind of how they want it. And then you see others that, they may be sickly, they may, not have enough money, they may be, you feel me, in relationships that are draining to their mental. And I just was always the type of person to sit back and ask or question, like, how did that happen? Like, how did they put themselves in that position? How did they end up in that position in life? And at the end of the day, it comes down to your choices and decisions and the people you decide to, incorporate in your life. You feel me? The people that you decide to give your time to, what you decide to focus on. And I realized a lot of the things that are meant to make you better, they're considered boring. You feel me? They're considered boring. Just like I just showed y'all, a couple books. At the end of the day, I went to school. I was never the type of person that liked to read, but that was only because the things that I was reading. That was only because the things that, the school had me reading. But as I started, reading things that was actually going to help me and push me forward and be beneficial to my life, you feel me? I started to enjoy it. You feel me? It was information that I was learning that I could actually apply that, that helped me. You feel me? As far as mindset and everything, just how you approach life, I feel like it made me a better person. So that's just, you feel me? That's just what I was thinking today. You feel me? My brother is actually in the room sleep. He probably tired because we had a conversation for a minute. You feel me? That was very productive. And that's just what it's all about. You feel me? I'm not really trying to hang around nobody who is not, inspirational, or, they don't have good words of advice, or they just not trying to do anything with their life. You feel me? At a certain point in time, I feel like you gotta, tighten up, get serious, and, just laser focus on what it is that you want and removing all distractions. And at the end of the day, it's never going to be easy. It's never going to be easy. You feel me? It's never going to be easy. Even you disassociating yourself from certain people, like you keep certain people in your life, I do believe that it will hinder you from some of your blessings. It will hinder you from, the destiny that God has for you. And that's not where I want to be in life, you feel me? Because you only get one life to live, you feel me? Now, whether you got to come back and do it over again, that's up to you. But while you're here, I feel like you should do everything in your power to, just increase the quality of your life and actually enjoy it. You feel me? And if you surround yourself around people that are not trying to become better and, change their way of thinking, if they were taught wrong or if things is not going in their favor, I just feel like it's a waste of time. You feel me? It's a waste of time. It's like, what's the point? You basically setting yourself up, and, you setting yourself up to live, a mediocre average life. And I don't think, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody really wants to do that. But it's the, the things that you got to go without, the things that you got to remove out of your life that actually helps you get there that, people are not willing to do. And I can understand why they do it, but at the end of the day, that's not something that, I'm able to resonate with. And I ain't gonna lie, I really just like coming on here just to, speak with y'all and, share my thoughts, and hopefully, gather a community of people who also want, big things out of life and, are working to get towards them. You feel me? But that's just what it is. I'm happy to have a roof over my head and be in warmth, because as y'all can see, this is not acceptable. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell notification for more vlogs. Let's get it.